go live. We are live.
Oh, okay.
What up, y'all? It's Michael Shawn, and I know you want to be a podcaster. You want a successful podcast. You want to give your views and opinions, but you just don't know how to do it correctly. That's why you got to hit up ShawnyScott.com. You want to be on radio, and you want to know how to build your radio career. ShawnyScott.com. She's done all of this. I've worked alongside her for years, and I will tell you the information that she can give you is on a value level that I can't even put a price on it. All you have to do is go to ShawnyScott.com. Your future, right now. That's it. Michael Shawn. Yeah.
The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
Michael Shawn and the TakeOver Legends, where the truth hurts, but also makes you laugh.
Baby, tap in. Tap, tap, tap in.
Don't never stop if you want to be on top. Yeah.
Low waist, fat, baby, tap in.
Oh, I'm going to tap in for sure.
Tap, tap, tap in.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday. We here, Michael Shawn and the TakeOver Legends. I'm just excited because I just saw an Instagram post from Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt.
Famous old school actress back in the day. A lot of people don't even understand how many barriers she was breaking. But man, if this is true, if this quote from Eartha Kitt is true, all right. Let me see. Where my glasses? I thought I brought my glasses.
I gotta Google Eartha Kitt to see who.
Eartha
You
Kitt
don't know who Eartha Kitt is?
81 years old. I know the name, but I couldn't tell you what she played in.
Eartha Kitt played in Boomerang. No. Yeah, Boomerang. Yeah, she was the old. Yeah, and she was bad in her day. Don't get it.
Did she die?
No. Don't start speculating and fuck it all up. Don't start speculating. Listen. Well, maybe she is, but she made this comment.
Eartha Kitt
they said,
was an American singer.
Why didn't you marry? Well, she's a legend. Like Eartha Kitt is a legend. That's why she was in Boomerang way back because he put her in there.
Yeah, she died December 25th.
Yeah, she died on Christmas 2008.
Okay, that's not the point of the story.
Okay. I'll go for it.
Jesus. She was asked the question, why didn't you marry a black man? Now, mind you, this is in the 60s. She said, I would reply, because white girls had them. The man I wanted to be with Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, dated predominantly white women. I'm talking about the 50s. When Harry Belafonte picks you out of his bed in Philly and said, I don't want you to take me seriously because no black woman could do anything for me. I could not help him to progress in where he was going to go. A black woman would hold a black man back. That's what he told me. I wanted to marry a black man that wasn't one because the white girls had them. God damn. Oh boy.
Damn, and that's on where that's at on Instagram.
Industry on Blast.
Wow.
The legendary actress Eartha Kitt on why she dated Snow Kings. Damn. I always thought
That'll do it.
That'll do it for you, boy. That is weird to me. I never understood the dynamic on why is it Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte and certain black men got away with dating white women back in them days where people were so anti that shit. Damn, Eartha Kitt.
Because it was a lot harder back then, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, like you wasn't, they didn't care if you was married, you wasn't walking into the same restaurant together and stuff like that. Sammy Davis Jr. was another one.
Oh, he stayed with a snow bunny?
He stayed with a snow bunny. Now, she was from I know it's weird, but she was from overseas, if I remember correctly, watching the movies, the Rat Pack. She was like, I don't know, from somewhere overseas. No, I watch all those movies. I love watching the Rat Pack and all that other stuff. Good stuff to watch.
Good morning, Shawn Robinson, Don Page.
All right, we'll get to that. Eartha Kitt just said black men wasn't messing with black women back in the day. God damn. You would think that that's when the bond would have been. I guess when you got to Hollywood, you needed a white woman. I guess you needed a white woman to get you popping. Wow, that is an interesting thing I just read. Okay, all right, we'll get to that. Jay Black, how was your night? Man, Eartha Kitt just lit it up from the grave. What's going on? Good morning, Kathy.
Kathy Black, good morning. Good morning. Everything's good. Yesterday we picked up a suit. I didn't do too much of nothing yesterday. Well, I did a lot, but but yeah, everything's good. Nothing on or off the top of the radar. A regular old Tuesday. Today is Wellness Wednesday.
Today is Wellness Wednesday. Y'all have Sequisa on the show. You guys are a nurse practitioner. So you ain't do much. Shawnee Scott was really good. How was your? Well, let me take a wild guess. You was Rihanna and you was working.
Yeah, I was working. Yeah.
You was working. Work.
Yeah, today I have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. The 11-year-old turned 12 today. So.
That's right, the baby.
Oh,
the baby's birthday today.
Birthday is today.
And she's 13. You said 12 today?
She's 12 today. 12
tween. Oh, ain't that when the drama start? But no, let's have fun though. Hey,
no, she been driving.
No, I said drama. She driving? She driving the car at 12?
I taught them how to drive. Yeah.
Nice. Not waiting till late. Okay, good. Well, happy birthday to baby Tam.
Good morning, Tam.
So that's why y'all hung out over the weekend, because I guess it sucks to have a birthday in the middle of the week. So you got to celebrate either the weekend before or the weekend after.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, tonight we'll probably just I might go get some cupcakes, and that's it. Because she got braces yesterday. So that was her.
Her teeth tight right now. Yeah.
The braces are in. These little kids, I'll tell you what, they different than us. They be asking for the braces. My daughters was like, yeah, when we getting these braces popping? I said, okay. That's something we avoided. We ain't want no braces. But I
had braces though. I wore braces.
These kids know. Get them braces straight. Exactly. You want to get them braces early. A lot of my friends didn't get them braces early. Well, I didn't need braces. But a lot of my friends didn't get them and regretted it later on in life, was getting braces in their 40s. So, all right. So you was working. I ain't do nothing but watch basketball. What I do? Oh, man, let me tell you something. I'm on jury duty.
You got jury duty? Wait, you got jury duty again?
Yeah, I got jury duty. First one, I've never done jury duty. I've always, putting that I'm a stand-up comedian. I could have literally got out of it yesterday because they did the jury thing where you tell the reasons why you can or cannot do it. And the judge either lets you go. I can't talk about the case, but the judge either lets you go.
Oh, you can't tell us? You can't tell us about the case?
Can't tell you about the case.
Is it ain't no murder case, though, right? You ain't no jury.
No, can't bring anything up till after.
You can't even, little robbery? No. Okay, I don't want to get you in trouble.
Can't talk about it at all. All I know is I could have got out of it, but it was my civic duty. It's my civic duty. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna knock this out so they leave me alone, and I'm done trying to make excuses on everything. But it is the most tedious thing you'll ever be a part of. Them assessing everybody and doing Thank God we did it via Zoom. Thank God you didn't have to go in the court and actually sit there. Because I was restless just sitting there in front of a laptop for hours.
So and they gotta ask you questions to make sure that you're not biased.
No, they only ask you questions. That yesterday was just to see, can you do it? Oh, can you actually make the time?
Commitment. So how many weeks you may be committed to?
It's just till next Wednesday. It's just like 2 days a week. The only problem is I haven't done anything in a scheduled time like this in years. Like the fact that they tell you from 9 to 4.
9 to 4.
You put in a 7-hour that's a shift.
Now, obviously, you're not in court from 9 to 4. I don't know what the hell you do from 9 to 4.
You got to be available and accessible just in case.
I ain't had I haven't been told you get a 15-minute break and a lunch break in years.
Wow.
In years.
And then what is like $9 per day per diem?
I don't know what this is. Whatever it is, I'm not. They send it to you. Oh yeah, and John Moran had that amazing dunk
Yeah.
that we're gonna see over and over and over.
That
and
young
over
boy is
and
here.
over.
He missed his triple double though. He kept running and gunning
He
at the
really
end,
didn't play well most of the game. That was the irony.
But Memphis won. But go ahead.
Memphis won, so they're up 3-2 going back to Minnesota. I told y'all once Minnesota blew a 27-point lead at home, they got all the talent to win. That's it. You blew your opportunity. You can't blow them opportunities like that. But so yeah, they asked everybody. Everybody had their excuses. I almost wanted to put my excuse out there, but I said no, I'm going to do it. So I got to do that. Y'all will be rocking. I'm leaving here at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 Central Standard Time. So I got that. Anything else that I did? Nothing really. I got my breaks done. Shout out to my man Craig for doing the breaks. And that's
all right,
it.
Craig, come through, Craig.
Craig and them.
Shout out to Craig. Rely on them folks. They try to pay me. They try to charge me $1,000 for breaks. I was like,
Craig.
Yeah, the dealership was bugging $1,000 for some damn breaks. Nah, I'm good. Nikki, what up? Good morning.
Nikki White Chocolate.
We didn't even talk about Elon. Did we talk about Elon Musk buying Twitter?
No, I saw the internet talking about Elon Musk buying Twitter and how. Yeah, go ahead. That's interesting though.
Yeah.
Is Elon Musk more powerful right now than the president of the United States? Yeah.
Definitely got more money. So more money brings more power.
He has more money.
Like if they find out Elon Musk was doing a crime.
The richest man in the United States.
Oh yeah, in the world.
I think he is. Yeah.
When you buy something for $44 billion, like if he got in trouble, could we really send him to jail? Like this guy goes to Mars. Like he flies to outer space. Can we really send Elon Musk to jail? Like if we said Elon Musk, you in trouble, you going to jail. And he said, "Oh, really? I'm pulling every bit of my money out the stock market." Do you know we'd collapse?
And the amazing thing is he's African.
I heard something about that. I didn't know the details on it because he don't look African.
Oh, he's the richest. Oh, he's the richest person in the world.
Look at him in his face, his features, you can see it. But yeah, he's African.
I thought that 44 billion would have hurt him, but not when you got 264 billion. Like, and you still
that ain't nothing.
Yeah, that ain't, and he still.
Yeah, if he took all his money and went home, like we'd collapse.
And he's gonna do stuff on Twitter so he can make more money. He'll make that money back.
Boy, Twitter! I tried to tell y'all that Twitter shit, boy.
$73 billion. Jeff Bezos only got 177. Only, compared to him.
I know, right? You saying that like so, y'all got billions. He said he only got.
Yeah, so he bought Twitter. I don't know if that was. Some people saying that was a dumb business decision to waste $44 billion on Twitter.
That's when you have 44. When you have 200 some odd billion dollars. You can do whatever you want to do.
So, do we know how big Twitter was in our last presidential election? Like everybody forgets how big Twitter was in our last presidential election.
Yep, with a billion.
Do you know that dude now has control of the mechanism that presidents use to get elected, and now he's got final say on that shit?
And they said that him and Trump are friends, so he's going to let Trump have his Twitter account back. That was one of the rumors that they're saying.
Yeah, this it wasn't the whole point, so people could have free speech.
Mm-hmm. That was his scam. That's his angle. That's his angle on it.
Good looking, Jeanette.
So we'll see. Like I just when somebody has the power to buy, like that's some crazy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
44 bill. Let me drop that. And I'm sure that changes the stock market and everything with the. I'm sure that Kamari was here to break it down. I'm sure that did something in that world, whereas though people either invested more or they sold.
Who even knows? Look, it's just fun to talk about. Nikki said my old ass about to have a baby by the year.
That's right. Elon, what's up, Elon?
I need that check.
You don't probably
Bring your African roots over here. Now, that's the white boy. I let have it.
You ain't getting it.
Can you imagine the child support? Ooh.
We couldn't even enforce it. No court. That's what I'm saying about how powerful he is.
He was born to a Canadian mother and a white South African father. Well, all right.
One of the most racist, a white South African father. Whoo, boy. Well, we'll see. God bless him. I'm not saying he's racist. I don't know the man. I just know the man is too powerful. You can't. There's nothing you can do to that motherfucker. There's nothing you can do. What else? All right, so let's get to these. I Instagram always makes me laugh because I just put stuff on there just to see their react. I don't even put my opinion. I just put stuff on there. I was like, I just want to do. Now my new thing is I'm just researching. That's all I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a post on there where there's this girl. I found this girl on TikTok. She got like over 1 million followers. And her spin on everything is gentle parenting. That's her thing, which I thought was interesting. I said, let me see this girl. And she has a whole bunch of tips that she gives parents. And she's African-American. I don't think she might be in her 30s. Not that this even matters, just pretty and young. She looks super young.
Mm-hmm.
So she gives you tips. And then she admits, like, these tips ain't always going to work. And I'm like, all right, so I was following the tips. I was like, all right. So she's got this thing where she puts beating, but she sings it. Like, she got a little thing. She's like, I can't sing, but beating, spanking, popping, and hitting are all the same thing. She's anti that whole thing. She's anti-beating, spanking, popping, or hitting. Okay. She says they're all the same thing. They're synonyms. And then on the thing, it says, y'all trying to be slick and get away with this abuse or whatever. So I said, let me just put this on here. Let me just put this on here. If you are on my Instagram, at Mike Shawn Comedy. Once again, she says, beating, spanking, popping, hitting are all the same thing. They're synonyms. And once again, she puts a little thing on there that says, y'all trying to be slick, getting away with this abuse. Boom. I just put it on there.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments lit up. Matter of fact, Lady Q commented.
Oh, I'm looking now. I'm trying to see what it is.
Okay. We are very protective of being able to put our hands on our kids. That's all I'm saying. People went in. People were like, there's a difference between beating, spanking, popping, and hitting.
Beating, spanking.
And if a parent decides to do anything,
is different.
Is their choice. So then another person puts, if you hit an elderly person, it's called it's called so-and-so abuse. If you hit this type of person, your wife, it's called so-and-so abuse. If you hit this type of person, it's called so-and-so abuse. But if you hit your kid, it's called discipline. I said, here we go. That's the launching pad. One person, I thought it was our research department because they left a passage. Like, I had to go back and read this twice because there was no way I was reading this on one take. She was for the hitting, and then people were like, there's a difference between beating, spanking, popping, and hitting. One person said, I got beat and spanked, and I turned out to be a good person. I was a bad kid, and I needed it. All right. First, I don't know who wants to go first. Is there a difference between beating, spanking, popping, and hitting? I'll go to Shawnee. She's got the younger kids right now, so she's still in a different time zone.
Going outside getting that switch, James said. All right, go ahead, Shawnee. Go.
Switch. I've had to tell my kids to do that, but they don't. Is there a difference between it? I think it's all the same because you're hitting them. You still hitting them. You're making contact with them. But I guess the way that you do it, because mine don't. Have they ever got a beating? I don't think they got a beating, but they definitely done got popped. They done got spankings. What's the other one?
It was beating, spanking, popping, hitting.
They done got hit, for sure. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like, it's rare that it happens. It got to a point when they were younger and they would get spankings. One day I was watching. I can't remember if it was Glory and he was getting whipped. And watching that, I was like, I'm not gonna spank them no more. And I stopped spanking.
Wow.
And stuff. And I
just
talked to him. I would just talk to him. And I tried that for a couple years, but then that belt had to come back out.
The belt had to come back out.
It had to come back out because I was like, you know what ain't about to happen? You ain't about to get 10, 11, 12, and you over here whooping me. That's not gonna happen. So it's easy.
Is that the actual video? Wow, pick your poison.
Do you want to spank them or do you want them to be spanking you?
Jay Black, beating, spanking, popping, or hitting. Are there differences? Now, Shawnee, your answer was they're all the same. But I guess you just, I don't want to speak for you. I guess you just think they're different degrees of everything.
Yeah, because you still making contact with them. You hitting them.
IG
you
Live.
Them, you hit them. If you spank them, you hitting them. If you hit them, you hitting them. If you do the other thing, you're still hitting them.
Yeah, I did realize one thing, that our communities, Black
and Brown. PSA, and I really can't sing,
Jay,
but I had to let you know that
can
these
you
are all the
let me
same
know
thing.
you're gonna play?
No, I was trying to get it set up because you know how I am when I got to do this stuff.
Go ahead, play it. This is her. This is her actual post. This is her actual post.
I got a PSA, and I really can't sing, but I had to let you know that these are all the same thing. Okay, bye. No, seriously, it's called a synonym, folks.
Y'all think
So
slick.
So she's got gentle ways. So all right, Jay Black, beating, spanking, popping, or hitting. Are they all the same?
I believe.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
I believe that there are differences. I believe that there are some scenarios where, I mean, I could pop you in your mouth because you say something slick. That could be a reaction. That's different from me whooping your behind, like really beating you down. Like there's clearly a difference, right? From my perspective.
Yeah, don't ask me because this is yours. Yeah, this is yours. Don't ask the crowd.
No, sometimes I do that. No, I think it's a different. For me, it's a difference, and I think in a lot of cases it can be helpful, to redirect that negative energy that made you could be going down the wrong path, and sometimes a good whooping could change that particular child.
Whooping.
Yeah, it could help you understand there's consequences to your actions, versus you consistently getting away with things and getting slaps on the wrist. So sometimes a sting or a pop wakes you up, and is needed for some kids, some individuals.
So when's the last whipping you gave out? Just one.
2 days. Well, we was fighting. Me and my boy. We was almost. He almost won a little bit, but not really won. But he won a little bit because like I kind of felt bad, you know. But it happens. Sometimes you need a good wake up call. Just hey.
Damn, a backhand, Jay.
Yes, sometimes
you need a backhand.
Just a little. Hey, just let you know, I'm the adult, and there's rules and regulations and the consequences of the actions. But what we're not going to do is this, and I think sometimes that wakes people up.
Our research department has a passage. I swore I brought my glasses down because I need my glasses for court. Damn it. Go ahead, Shawn. You read it.
Whooping. 1, it is short slang for getting a whipping. 2, it means that someone is about to get beat down, annihilated, torn up, having their asses handed to them on a silver platter, taken to the woodshed, spanked, whipped. They're gonna get a licking, have their hide tanned, get switched. They're in for a hurting, etc. Example: Mama told me if I did that again, she'd give me a whooping that I'd never forget. Then she said she'd slap me so hard that my kids would be dizzy. I ain't messing with that candy.
All right, that's a lot.
I always wonder, and I'm gonna be careful. I'm not trying to start a whole bunch. Well, maybe I am trying to start a whole bunch of shit. How do we say, you know what? So Jay, I don't even know why. Fuck it. Listen, how do we actually think it's funny? And I never thought comedians thought it was funny that parents sent their kids out to get a switch so they could beat them with the switch.
Go get the switch off that tree and bring it back to me so I can whoop your behind.
Every time the switch, we talk about that as funny. But when we talk about Black people getting beat by switches by white people, it's a tragedy.
So you're going to
What's your question again?
He just equated your parent disciplining their child and getting the switch.
But do you understand that it was all done in the sake of discipline?
Right.
It was all done in the sake of discipline.
So yeah, and that's what our great grandparents and grandparents, that's what worked. So that's what they did, and that's what just came down. I mean, and the thing about it, we changed our parenting skills I've seen us change our like they're on here talking about it's all the time. Now, kids are kids, and kids are gonna be kids, but these little Black kids, they out of control because a lot of parents are talking to them. Oh, and it's crazy because we'd be out in the store and I'll see a black mom with their little black kids, and the black kids are out of control. And she'd say, well, I just don't know what to do with them. And to me, that sounds so non what I'm used to. And my whole family black. So I'm just like, okay, that timeout, go to the corner. You in Walmart tearing Walmart up.
Get the brush.
I told
like
you to
James
stop.
Brown did. Get that brush. Good.
Well, I might grab something off the Walmart shelf and dare them to call the police on me.
I used to make jokes about the timeout, and then listen, I'm just gonna say, and I've repeated this a million times. I can't complain about kids and how they act because I was a horrible kid. I was horrible. Like the shit I got into as a kid was ridiculous. Like the stuff I did at like 10, 11, and 12 years old was absolutely obnoxiously bad. Like I wasn't killing people or robbing people, but I was bad as hell. Like literally bad. And I took them ass whippings. I did. And they ain't do shit for me. Nothing. They didn't stop me from doing nothing.
It did. You had to second guess something. You had to.
So why'd I still go to jail as a teenager?
Stop and pause because you were just willfully negligent.
Right.
You were just wanted to be that kid. But for some kids, it will help. But for you, I guarantee you, in some moments, you paused and thought about the consequences.
No, you got some sense. You got some sense. You think very clearly. You know right from wrong.
Yeah.
You can rationalize. No, it helped.
You're
not out here just doing whatever.
Willy-nilly.
No, I was.
Like that.
Like, if we're really honest, Jay, we were. We were. Like, if you really look at your life and the shit you got into, them ass whippings did nothing. Nothing. You know what it made me? A great liar. That's what it made me. It made me know how to lie because I knew if my dad found out, death would be upon me. So I had to be able.
So you had to get slick.
I had to be able to have a foolproof lie. I had to be able to lie dead to his face and say a lie. Like, to me, the only thing I ever got from an ass whipping was resentment. The only thing I ever thought when I got an ass whipping was the only reason you're doing this is because you can beat me.
And instead, see, I think you do think, well, why is she saying this? Or why is he doing this? And you have to understand, why did I get beat? Is a reason. And you have to process that.
So our generation literally may have been the worst. Like our generation.
I might have gotten 5 spankings. Maybe.
Grounding. I think Sheree is saying grounding worked for her.
She said we don't spank our kids. They didn't work for me, and I got so many unnecessary spankings. Many of them because I was curious and didn't know. Grounding worked for me when I was younger, and that works for my kids. Take something meaning away or can't go places is more effective than a lick. Getting a spanking and go back to doing the same old thing. That was me until my phone and car keys got taken away. I know spanking and grounding does not work for the baby girl. It don't matter what I do. The only thing that I could do next to her, I done took everything away, all privileges, everything. The only thing I could do next is kill her, and I'm not gonna do that. So I just let her hang herself now.
Oh yeah, my grandma had what was that?
Grandmother
had a tree
out back for that. Go get that switch.
Oof.
Physical violence.
Physical violence is physical violence. Kids are people too. And it just
they got equal rights. Everything.
Hey, go. Hazel.
What do you mean what do you mean they do have equal rights? They do.
We look at kids as our property a lot of times.
Ooh, you sound like a slave master.
Like when you just said they had to pause for a second.
You sound like a slave master.
Because you want them to grow up right and train them and teach them and they learn. You want them to do things right.
But you are responsible for your kids. And you're responsible for them until they
you can get caught up. You
can or out of your house.
They don't go to school. You can get locked up. You can get fines.
Yeah.
You said I want to train them.
But you know what I meant when you want to teach them life lessons and educate them.
But the funny thing is we want to teach them life lessons through something that they're not, that we tell them never let anybody else do this to you. Exactly what I'm doing to you. If somebody, don't you ever let anybody else do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you say that too about, hey, if somebody only mommy or daddy can wash you up or whatever. I don't know. No one else can. I don't know.
Lady Q said, hitting isn't the answer when kids keep doing the same behavior. Get to the root of the behavior so we don't have a bunch of traumatized adults not speaking to their parent. Listen, I'm not saying I'm not even telling y'all I have the answer. All I know is
I don't have the answer.
All that shit was built up resentment. All that did is built up a lifetime of resentment. Ain't do nothing.
No, the grounding, like Sheree was saying, the taking the cell phones away. What'd you say? Wow, what'd you say?
On Instagram, she says, can't physically discipline my children because the school keeps sending CPS to my home.
Oh, they keep reporting her. So they got bruises. So you can't send your kids with bruises to school, or maybe the kids are going there talking.
They might just go up to the school talking
to the counselor and tell the counselor, yeah, at home, I'm sleepy because I'm up all night because I'm crying because my mom beat me, or
that's why you have to do that in the summertime when they ain't at school.
What? No.
They can't go tell nobody.
That was Shawnee's guy. Yeah. Jay, get on because I ain't got much time. Get on IG Live.
It's always an echo when I get on.
Lady Q, I'm on a conscious parenting journey, and I've learned that I'm the problem.
I disagree.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm the problem. I mugged one time. I put my hands on my daughter, and I realized I put my hands on my daughter not really because it was initiated. Like my excuse is what she said, but I lost my temper. So I mugged her, and I apologized to her right after I did it.
Good mugging sometimes is needed though. Like
how did you mug her?
She had her back to me, and I pushed her head.
Turned her back to you,
and I realized you just mugged her, and you want her to get used to somebody doing that shit to her.
Oh, you're a father.
I mean, well, I can understand that because you a man doing that to her.
The psychology part of it,
but. I mean, the girl's dad he's spanked them when they were little, like popped them with his hand, not but as how they are now and they do stuff. He don't know what to do. He just look at
I ain't gonna lie. Me and my mom, because my mom's a sweetheart. I can remember the time my mom popped me in my mouth and how close I was to hitting her back.
No, you never was gonna hit your mom back.
That is so disrespectful to pop somebody in the mouth, yo.
Well, I had popped both of mine in the mouth because one of them called me bruh the other day, and I said, "Don't call me bruh." I said it twice, and that third time,
okay. No, that's what they do now. Lady Q just did a post, and they call it bruh.
Who the fuck is bruh?
Went from mommy to mom to bruh.
Treasure
what?
Treasure_official said, I don't beat my children, but this is the 11th case since 2016. Somebody at the school has a grudge. Damn. All the other cases been closed. I've been nothing but cooperative. Man, yeah, that's a woo.
So now you're
change schools. Can you change schools?
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought because old school parents is old school parents, like whippings and beatings, and even the word beating. The fact that we used to say it so casually. Like that was a cat. My niece told the school she don't eat. And my brother's a chef and a great dad. They came to the house to see. God, man.
The schools get on my nerves. They need to take care of the problems at the school. Take care of them problems at the school before you come to my house.
Oh, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't too. Because the kids that die at the house, then people get blamed for them not checking and CPS not. I would never want that job. Once again, I ain't got no answers, y'all. I ain't got no answers. Parents Go ahead, Johnny.
No, I was gonna comment to what Lady Q was saying. Parents beat the kids and then tell them they did it out of love. That's a trauma bond, and it teaches them this is what love looks like. So then, what do you do when your kids are out of control?
Man,
talking, doesn't know how taking their stuff. I mean, like I said, my baby girl. Listen. Punishment, taking her phone, her electronics, not buying her. She don't care. She gonna keep doing the same thing that she's been doing.
Well, I mean, maybe they changed. Because I know I did change. Sequisa morning. Sequisa, we're talking about, there was a post that said this girl does this thing called gentle parenting. It's an interesting TikTok. Like I did take some I wrote down some notes. She says beating, spanking, popping, hitting are all the same thing. Beating, spanking, popping, and hitting are all the same thing. Lady Q's comment, how can I teach my kids to knock the shit out of anybody that puts their hands on them except mommy and daddy? Listen, it is a
because there's a respect, is just certain things are just what it is. Parents are just off limits. Just like
they can't go knock the mess out the cop.
You better protect yourself outside of this house and me. If anybody hit you, you hit them back, man, you got a problem. Like, I need you to know how to defend yourself. But when it comes to me, parents,
I mean, but what do you do? That's the thing. I mean, I think that I've taught my girls. I think I've been a great example. I give myself credit for that. I'm hoping that when they get older, I guess it'll click and those things will make sense. But I mean, when they say don't spank them, just talk to them. Okay, well, talking to them ain't working. So what's the answer? They go into therapy. So
you talk to them. You took all of their personal belongings that they like, the cell phones, and like usually that will work. As a kid, and social media and their phone is like their lifeline. So if that's not working, the therapy is not working, they're gonna have to get out. They're gonna have to go live with their father. Like, I mean,
we definitely not gonna do that.
Maybe they appreciate living with their mama. But Nikki said her daughter jumped at her one time and she left with a bloody nose. She never did that again. I guess Nikki said she wanted to fight. So
but Nikki, I understand, because if you jump at me, that's But what I'm saying is, when you got to the jumping at, there was a progression that got to that spot. Like, it ain't go from y'all was all good to her jumping at you.
Well, them girls, sometimes they think they ass big as the ass that pushed them out. And that's why I have time about your ass will never be as big as mine. Let's get that clear.
All right, Sheree's a teacher.
Sheree gonna drop a if a student goes to school and tells the teacher that a parent beats them, we have to report it. Because if it's true and we don't, and the kid was actually beat and came to light that they told the teacher, we get in trouble. That's why I said damned if you do, damned if you don't. We kill the CPS workers or whatever you call it in your city that come and take the kids. But then we kill the same CPS person who doesn't take the kids, and the kids winds up dead out of abuse. Or we find out they've been terrorized for years by this abusive parent or step parent or baby or boyfriend or whatever. I wouldn't want that job. I would not want that job.
She said some kids say it out of spite because they're mad at the parents, Sheree saying. So I guess you got those cases too, where they're saying the mom is beating them because they're just mad because they took their cell phone. They don't have, so hey.
Yeah, or they'll say that. Those kids talk about that, because mine tried that with me one day, talking about, I just tell them, I said that, tell them. Girl, please tell them I will pack up all your stuff and sit it right there. Oh, you don't have no stuff.
Lady Q, it's all about natural consequences. And it's slow, difficult process that I'm messing up every day, but I'm committed to it because I'm seeing how I messed up with my daughter. Hey, Lady Q, you ain't the only one. I put myself right in there too. I know I may not have put my hands on people, but the words I used and how I talked was vicious and disrespectful.
How do you feel like you messed up with her?
No, I messed up because I see how their reaction to certain situations are. And I go like, they got that from me. They got that emotional spark, that emotional overreaction that the louder I get, the more my message gets through. And it just doesn't work. In actuality, for a lot of people, well, Jay Black has said it 1 trillion times. The louder you get, the more your message isn't heard.
For me, yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't make it more important. I just pulled a knife on my mom.
No, not just. She talking about
I pulled a knife on my mom when I was 16. She bodied her. I was mad. She was moving us to a better place.
Oh, you didn't want to leave. You had your friends, and and that's the thing, because parents don't want to consult with the kids, and they like, well, no, we need to do this, and the kids are, but I don't want to leave.
I will say this.
What you mean consult with the kids?
Because
Y'all
they're
ain't
people.
paying for
Basil said that
nothing.
earlier.
I don't care. You are not paying for
See, you don't
nothing.
respect
I
them
am the
then.
one paying for that. I sure don't. Not in my house.
But
No,
I will, and I'm not saying
they
this,
don't nobody have a choice but me.
I'm gonna say this: the worst experience I had was my parents moving twice, and the shit I had to go through, adjusting to both situations, and they would never know how hard it was for me to adjust. Like I went from lean on me to all white. I went from having to see somebody die at one school to literally dealing with racist white folks at the other school.
Shawnee said you ain't got no option.
Well, I mean, I get
had
it.
to do that. I moved around, changed schools a lot, and the girls have moved around. Now I'm trying to be more, keep them in one place. Now since they're in junior high, they're in sports, but it's okay. I mean, I adjusted fine. They kids, but nah, I'm not consulting with them about. Oh, y'all,
you're not considering that feeling.
If it's a move that I have to make, if it's something that okay, this is what I got to do in order for us to be able to maintain what we have and live. I'm not talking to them.
But in
if
all
I
seriousness, it could be mental. It could cause them some mental health concerns and like that anxiety that could really trigger something that has to be considered in all seriousness.
No, I'm not considering it because I went through it.
But just because you went, I hear Lady Q in my ear. Just because you went through that doesn't mean that your kids have to suffer and go through the same things. You know
they
better,
ain't
you
suffering.
do better.
My kids are not suffering. I promise you,
but if you put them in environments that are detrimental,
they're not suffering. They need to learn how to be in all environments. They don't know. They need to know how to be in all environments. I had to learn how to be in all environments. I went from all black schools to all white schools to mixed schools where I was getting bullied at, schools where everybody liked me.
And 2022 is different, Shawnee, than 1992.
But it's still the same thing. I can't keep them in one area and think that that's all they're going to deal with the rest of their lives.
Well, I'm still traumatized. Where they're going to go. They
got to learn how to be able to
Just think about it. Mike went from all blacks and Puerto Ricans to all white school where he felt alienated. He didn't feel welcome. He didn't feel that's a culture shock.
Happens in life. That happens in life.
Yeah.
That's
but I'm just gonna say, I'm not saying your kids.
We can't change life for us.
But I'm not saying what your kids are going through. I'm saying what I went through. It fucked me up till today. Like the adjustment, the scars that happened are still stuff that I'm still dealing with today. I'm just going by my personal experience, what I did. And that's probably why I didn't force my kids to move to Texas. Simply because I knew what it was like.
It's like my daughter's going through being bullied. I was bullied in school. However, I handled it differently because I grew up hood first and then got moved in another situation. So if you got up in my face, I'm gonna hit you. They ain't raised like that. That one there, that's not how they started. They started in private schools and now they in the hood dealing with this. But they adjusting. They learning. She learning how to put a nigga in jail.
You cannot beat the you out of your offspring. Many have tried. Man, Billy, you just said some shit right there. You just said you can't beat the you out of your man. Let me tell you. I have seen that. When I tell you me and Monty have gone at it, and I've said that ain't nothing but me talking to me. I'm just going, Lady Q. The soundtrack to her childhood is me cussing, name calling, and threatening. I'm embarrassed by it. Don't be embarrassed. You're just human, Lady Q. You're just human.
Yeah.
And I don't embarrass easily at all. I don't want that going forward to her and not for my son. Listen, all you got, the blueprint that we got, Lady Q, was the blueprint that we got. Yeah. I say it all the time. I used to be mad at my parents, and I realized my parents were raised by some dysfunctional fucking rules of people who loved them, but their parents were super dysfunctional. My parents did some little less dysfunctional shit. I'm hoping my kids are going to be better than I am at this.
So your kid disrespect you, say something slick, call you out a name, or like that's weird not to get physical. Or like that's weird just to allow that disrespect to happen in your face, and you living under my house and my rules. I don't know how you stand there and take that.
Well, I want to know why some people could say it's weird that your first thought when something happens is to get physical.
Non-violent.
Now you call me if let my daughter come up here and say, "Bitch, all these tables gonna be knocked over."
There's going down. And then
that takes a lot of self-control.
Now, if she just talks back, because they talk back and they get their little tone or something they do that I have to get on them, they'll say, "Well, she," and I'm, "Who is she?" Talking about me. Like, no, you don't call me she. You don't refer to me as she. I ain't she. I'm mommy. Like when they do that, no, that's not something I'm gonna jump over the table on, but I will say something to them about it. But yeah, if they come up here and I'm a B and an MF, all this shit get knocked over for me to get to them.
I agree. I just know whatever, and I'm speaking on a different. What is the buildup that gets there? Because I know once we cross this line, there ain't no turning back. Like once I punch you in your face, it's all different forever. Like once the line that's always my worry. And that was the worry with me and my dad. At a certain point, we're gonna cross a line that we ain't never gonna go back on. And if we do, it's gonna take some therapy to get through this.
Well, I don't know. I've never wanted to punch him in the face.
Maybe an arm, a leg, chest.
No, I mean I'll pick up something and pop them with it on their arm or something, but I ain't never went today. Yeah, shoe, broom.
Yeah, I can see a shoe.
Whatever.
A broom. For some reason, I felt like broom was a little harsh. Like when James said his mom beat him with the brush. I think certain
the brooms
like
now
that.
they them little plastic brooms, so they bend.
Oh, we're behind on these comments. You want to read these comments, Shani, so we get caught up to Marjorie?
I've gotten physical with my children, but I was pushed to that point. I really don't like it because it doesn't work. My husband and I do not agree on our discipline styles. We really butt heads on that. He hits and is reckless with his mouth. I mean, they gonna go out there. Good morning. They're gonna go out there. I mean, they're gonna go out there and deal with people that are like that. I think there's a big difference between discipline and abuse. I would hope that I would never punch my child in the face.
You said there's a difference between discipline and abuse. So if you hit somebody, that's still abuse. And I think that's what the Basil was saying earlier, no matter how you look at it.
Oh yeah, I forgot to read Basil's comment. But I moved from NYC to Jersey. Yeah, Afro Queen, that was me. Was the only black person there. I don't blame my parents. They told me why we moved, even though I didn't fully understand it till I was old. Listen, I appreciate my dad moving me out the Bronx. I truly do. Basil said black culture of child raising comes straight from the slave master playbook. Unfortunately, God, man.
Good morning, Ashley.
I mean, but I was like, what do you do when your child, and I'm talking about me. Good morning, Slow. What do you do when you talk to them, you've taken everything from them, but they still doing the same stuff?
Plain and simple.
Let me that ego, plain and simple.
So I guess if they say something slick to you, she's saying that's your ego, and you're guilty.
But there's something before. There's something.
So what do you do? You when they
just eat
when they pop fly at the mouth, what am I supposed to do? And I'm talking about me now. What am I supposed to do? I'm like right now, y'all probably can hear them in the back arguing over some BS, and they got to get ready for school. And every day we go through this, and I have to.
Well, that's the difference from saying to you, this bitch crazy. Like if they say something that they like,
and that's what I'm saying. If they say that, and I hear it, what I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm asking for real.
The answers at,
No. What do you mean? The answers are what? The answers to what?
If Carly under her breath, Shiny's daughter got mad and said, "Oh, this bitch crazy," and Shiny hid.
What am I supposed to do?
There's gonna be a threat. I'm not telling y'all. Like nobody's ever cursed at me, so I'm not telling y'all I would know how to actually. But I'd be like, listen. The best case scenario for Michael would be, listen, and this is bad because I'm gonna say what would come out my mouth. If somebody said, "Call me motherfucker or this bitch," to me, I would probably step to them and be like, I will fuck you up in real life.
See, that's what I would say.
But is that healthy? Is that healthy?
I just preface my whole
Oh, by
thing.
saying it's not okay.
I'm saying in real life, I will fuck you up. Now the problem is and the long-term thing, and this is why parents have such a hard job in every single day trying to provide and dealing with the pressures of just financially providing, is that there was a build. But my thing is, there's a buildup. There's a buildup of months of this. This just didn't happen. We didn't go from playing Uno to this. Like, there's a buildup. Like, I know my kids saw me going ham on Stacy, and that affected them. I know that this shit in the past has seeped into what they really can't stand. And subliminally, I saw my dad doing the same shit. And in turn, I repeated the same actions.
And still repeating it by saying, I'll fuck you up in real life.
But this is why I do the 10-second, 30-second rule before I talk to my daughters.
Okay, here we go. Here's the solution.
I literally, like, me, Monty, and the twins now have had the greatest conversations ever, because I know my instinct is not right. My instinct and discipline is not right.
So you take a 10-second, 20-second step back and you breathe.
Yeah, I step back, or sometimes I got to take a walk and be like, wait a second, Mike. Wait a second. Like I feel like if I come downstairs, like this is a simple one. I'll give you a simple playful one. I feel like if Akela's watching TV downstairs and I decide to come downstairs and I say, give me the remote control, I'm about to watch the game, then she has to give me the remote control. And Akela's like, Dad, I'm on the TV. In my household, when my dad came down and said, give me the remote, it was over. It didn't matter if you had spent, I don't give a damn what you were doing. You just shut up and you handed the remote over. It's just,
some of that frustration is just coming. So some of that is just your frustration you're putting out on your kids because you're stressed out at work or you're stressed out in your relationship.
If my child called me a stupid bitch, that's me taking my frustration out on him.
No, I'm saying what?
I'm just saying Jeanette was saying some of that could be your frustration. Like when you, if Carly did say this bitch crazy and then you immediately react, part of that could be your frustration because I guess you as the parent being the older adult should be able to know how to manage those scenarios and not react.
I don't know how to manage that scenario. If you calling me a stupid bitch,
yeah, like let me in.
Hold on.
I don't know how to do that.
But this is the crazy pattern. We come from a generation. Now I find it I'll speak for me. There is some shit that I took from my parents. There was some shit that was said to me and done to me that my parents deserved for me to say, you dumb bitch or you dumb motherfucker.
No.
There was some shit that was done that I'm like, to this day, I go like, what in the world was the point of that?
They're learning though.
But we were taught to suck it up. We were taught to just shut up and mind our business and just go about. These kids have more information to common sense. You ain't gonna get away with being able to just say, well, you just gonna have to take that. They just not. They just know better. They just know that shit is fucked up. Like we just took it and we just was like, yo, this dude is crazy. And just took it.
I mean, I got called names, shit. Or ask, are you stupid when I made bad decisions or I wasn't thinking, I wasn't using common sense. My mom got verbally rough with me. And I appreciate her for doing it because what it did was make me think instead of just sitting there relying on somebody else to do the thinking for me. Because it's like, well, damn, Shawnee, that was kind of stupid with you sitting there, doing that at the time when she was saying it. Did I like it? No. But when I turned about 35, then I was like, you know what? I get it. And I'm glad you did it because if she wouldn't have done some of the things that she did, I wouldn't know how to think on my toes. I definitely wouldn't know how to bounce back. I definitely wouldn't, and I wouldn't be unstoppable. I would not be the person that I am if she hadn't done some of those things. If my mama would just coddle me and it's gonna be okay, and I would be a hot mess. I would not be the owner of Medium Room 360.
I feel, and I agree. I'm not disagreeing. In my case, I wish somebody would have coddled my ass. I literally wish somebody would have literally encouraged me instead of trying to like think I'm doing every single fucking thing wrong at every minute. I wish somebody would have been like, you know what,
Mickey, you're funny.
I'm not gonna accuse you of every single damn thing in life. Like there's certain things that I know. You know what? There's another thing for like, and this is just as me. I don't need to bounce back from my parent. I don't need you to teach me how to bounce back from your shit. Like, I honestly don't need to be 11 years old having to figure out how to bounce back and think on my toes. Thinking on my toes gave me anxiety.
And also your parent gripping you up, threatening to hurt you, probably gave you anxiety too, or getting you back in. Like, it's all
like I hated walking on eggshells. Like walking on eggshells, like, well, what the fuck? Like, what type of mood are you walking in? That's another thing. Old school parents believe that because the world treated them poorly, they were allowed to walk in and turn the house upside down because they had a bad day. These kids now are like, wait a second, we had nothing to do.
Well, that's something. Yeah, that's something completely different. You taking out your frustration on your kids, but when we talking about discipline, yeah, they need to know how to think on their toes. I put my kids in situations all the time because you got to know how to think on your toes. You cannot just sit there and get got.
Well, I understand you don't want them to get got. I'm saying thinking on the toes of crazy situations just popping up in the house for no reason. Like, I don't need to be thinking on my toes because of this erratic behavior that pops off for no reason. Like all of a sudden, like, oh shit, what's going on? Like, why is he wilding? Why is he in it? And that is just like, parents really think that one time, this is the big one argument that I'm not gonna get into the whole thing. Stop saying you're not gonna do this in my house. Let's get this straight, homie. In real life, this ain't your house.
What?
In real life, this ain't your house. The most important, I'm gonna prove to you, the most important people in this house are me and my sister. Because if it has to be a choice on who has to go, it ain't gonna be us.
Well, you know what? First of all, guys, thank you for letting me in. As always, y'all come with some of the greatest topics in the world. So I literally just woke up. I was like, let me see what they're talking about today. And y'all were hitting so many triggers, as I've said on this show, triggers and traumas. But I think to both Mike's point and to Shawnee's point, I don't know if our parents beat us up for what the world has done to them. To your point, Mike, I think you're absolutely right. The parenting that we're receiving and the parenting that we're now giving is a microcosm of what has gone on before us. So hopefully, to your point, we try to do better than what we thought happened to us. Meaning now, like I said, we give our kids all the things in the world that we think will make a difference and make them better human beings and put them in spaces and places where they don't ever have to worry about things that they might have lacked and all these nefarious things. But as I've said on this show, or as I've said in general, I'm not sure if that's always the greatest thing, because sometimes lack of, to Shawnee's point, gives you the opportunity to think for self. See, we as parents are, and especially if you have older children, and especially with her children are, when you're in that tween stage, you're not quite grown yet, but you're no longer a child. You start, feeling yourself. You start thinking to yourself things that you say and how you feel, like you said, have this magical power. And it does and it doesn't, because at the end of the day, as a parent, your job day in and day out is to provide technically the necessities. We've gotten on this thing where we be like, well, you need to have an Xbox and you need to have the latest Jordans and whatever else, according to us. But the reality of it all is, no, you just need the necessities. Once we get beyond the necessities, here's what happens, especially when they get to be 17, 18 years old. Because I know when I got to be 17, 18 years old, and there were certain things that my parents may or may not have been able to provide, I went out and I figured out for myself okay, if I want these things, then I can kind of get them for myself. It might mean a paper route. It might mean helping pack bags at Fedco or whatever the local supermarket was or whatever. We don't give our children these options anymore. We just start providing those things. So then the kids think to themselves and, say things like, well, it's your job. It's your job to be a straight A student. How's that working out for you? Are you handling that? See, it's certain stuff that we don't question. We try to, well, I wouldn't put that back on my children. Why not? As I told y'all, I've been on here and I told y'all, a couple of things have happened to me in my childhood. One, greatest story ever. Like I said, I was a kid. I came up in the video game era. That was Pac-Man and all that stuff. But at that time, like I said, as a young kid, I technically would take from anybody. So that means if you had quarters or a dollar in your purse or pocket or something, I'm gonna get you. And I'll never forget, my grandmother was having something at the house, and we go over there, and my grandmother let my entire family into her house. We was about to have fried chicken and potato salad and all the stuff that you love as a kid when you get to go see your grandmother. And she said, I don't want this little thief in my house. And I was like, Grandma. She was like, you steal. I don't want you in my house. And it crushed me. But it taught me a valuable lesson. I got one or two choices. I could either still continue to steal or get my act together and be a better person. So I say that to say, yeah, you're right. Sometimes it doesn't require you beating your children and this and the third. Sometimes you got to point things out to your children in a way and or a manner in which it resonates with them. Oh, wait a minute. Mom or dad is disappointed with me in this specific way. I got to do better, or I should do better.
Well, that's communication. I hate to cut you off because I got to leave in like 12 minutes.
You go, man.
Two things. It's even a terminology. When we say a kid starts feeling himself, I used to hate when my dad used to be like, "Oh, what you think you change?" No, I'm changing.
Think you're grown? You think
no,
you're grown now?
It's called, white people call it, they're maturing and changing.
Yeah,
that's just the progression of life. But it's like it was always a critique. Oh, you think you so? No, I don't think I'm anything. I just think I'm growing up.
Think you figured out life?
No, I'm trying to figure out life. That's what I'm trying to do as a teenager. I'm trying to figure out what this thing is. And you ain't helping because every time something happens differently, it's always I'm trying to feel myself or I'm trying to this or I'm not trying to do shit.
Yeah, there's boundaries that they got to stay in certain things that they can't. That's fine if you feel that way. It's fine if you feel a certain way. They growing up, but it's a way to do things too. You can't just be disrespectful in the house.
I'm not saying being disrespectful. I'm saying I'm just using the terms that we use when people are maturing and going through puberty and going through changes. It's always they feeling themselves. They think they this. They think they that. No, I really don't. I'm really going through this for the first time, and I'm trying to figure out my character and who I'm also, this role I'm supposed to play in school and everything like that.
Shaping yourself who you
are. I don't even know what I'm good at or what I'm not good at. The other thing, and Mir said it, your job is to get straight A's in school. Well, then, damn it, you better be the best employee at your job then. Because this whole thing about you better get straight A's. Listen, I was not going to be a straight A student. No matter how you beat me, no matter what you did, school wasn't my thing.
Yeah, I hated school too. I hated it.
It didn't make common sense to me. Now, if somebody would explain to me instead of just forcing it down my throat, if somebody would explain to me, and if my parents would have been like, if my dad, they didn't know any better. It was just get straight A's. I don't know why you're getting a C in algebra because I suck at it and I have no tutor. And I don't even know there's a place to get help. So it's like a thing where I'm like, we just put this thing on. Now, back to the when I met, I know everybody looked at me crazy. It ain't my house. I can't tell my kids, this is your house. You have a place to go. And then when it's convenient saying, this is my house. It's either our house or it's my house all the time. That is just my opinion. I can't tell you this is your safe haven all the time. You can stay here as long as you want. You understand. You don't ever have to depend on anybody. You have a place to go. And then when it suits me, say, no, this is my house.
Don't you got rules and regulations in your house, though, that must be abide by?
It's still not my house. This is our house.
But if they don't abide by your rules and regulations, then what?
We got to talk about it.
If you ain't paying your rent, you get evicted, right?
They stay as long as they want. But when they get their house, then that's their house.
There gonna be rules that we
just read these couple comments to get caught up real quick. I'm sorry, Marjorie and then Bezos.
Just like we need communication with our romantic relationships or friendships, we need that with our kids too. It's no different. Got it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Basil, Mike is so right. With so much we have to deal with as Blacks in America, you should be a safe haven, not a place that you have to be concerned with getting assaulted by people that's supposed to protect you. There's no simple answer to all this.
Yes.
There's no simple answer to it.
Parenting is our learning experience. It's really trial and error, unlearning our traumas growing up while we raise ours. I mean, yeah, that's true. Because there's some stuff I don't do to my kids that is done to me. But I don't think much. I wasn't traumatized and beat and stuff. I was disciplined. I can say that. Like I didn't feel like I was walking into World War III in my house.
Well, Shaquisa said, well, this is my house. I love you.
So much you can say.
Live here. Yeah, this is my house. Shit. They job is to make 97. The only thing they got to bring home 97 or higher. And I say that because they expect 100% out of me every day. And I give them that and more. So give me 97 or higher, because all you got to do is worry about going to school. My kids don't have no stresses. They don't have nothing.
A lot of people say they shouldn't have stress at that age. They shouldn't be.
Wait. You think this is the thing that kills me when people say all you got to do is go to school. Till this day, the hardest thing I ever did was get through my 4 years of high school.
No question.
That was the hardest thing I ever did.
No question.
That's all they got to do. The hardest thing I had to do. I mean, if we don't, that's the thing. It's like, this is life. Like, there is no, all you got to do is go to school. When you get grown, you got to work. Do I want to work?
There's always going to be something.
I would love to wake up when I feel like it and just sit on the beach all day, but I have to work.
Get him, Shawn.
What I'm saying is, when we say all you have to do, it's not. There's no such thing as all you have to do. The shit is hard.
It is.
So like I'm telling you, I still have nightmares of going back to school, of waking up in high school.
I understand that, Mike, but to Shawnee's point, and even to your point, school is a early sort of learned discipline. That's really what it is. You made a super valid point a moment ago. Our problem, and I've also shared this, is wording, obviously, or the way that we use words. We don't always think about the impact of them. We don't always think about what we say or how we say it, because words, especially in the English language, have so much duality in terms of what their meanings are. In one group in this country, it can mean one thing. In another group, it can mean something else totally different. But with that having been said, to me, schooling is just a discipline. Meaning, as a kid, I remember, like I said, I would watch my parents get up and go to work every day. So my version of that was getting up and going to school every day. Whether you take it to the next level, like you said, and you become an A student, this, that, the third, obviously that varies. I got, one of the greatest stories ever told about, to your point about being an A student. And I'll share it on this live because it's the funniest story ever. So I was in high school, and my mom's had gone to open school night, as parents do, and we sitting in there. And I had gotten a grade in one class that was different from a grade in another class. So that teacher wanted to go talk to that teacher. She was like, well, he does so great in my class. And my mom was like, no, you absolutely do not get to go talk to that teacher. He got that grade in that class, and that's what it is. Long story short, it was like a B plus, whatever. And my mom and the teacher were like, but Amir, we know you could do better. And I said, you're absolutely right. I said, but let's just be fair and let's be honest. I said, at the end of the school year, is it the A students who kill everybody in their family, usually their parents, or is it the BC students? And my mother and the teacher never bothered me about it again. They were like, you know what? That's a valid point, sir. So I never had that, because I'm retarded like that. But I share that, obviously being funny. But at the same time, I'm just saying that the discipline of learning to go to school, to Shawnee's point, is the starting point of learning how, when life happens, and it will happen because you eventually obviously get out of school. If you choose not to continue in school, will put you in a space and a place where now you have to do and show up for real life. And real life doesn't have too many days off when we really think about
put Tam Tam Singh, and we're not even going to mention the suicide rate that these kids have as teenagers and high schoolers and middle schoolers. That is horrifying. That when you think about it, you go like, God damn. And listen, I don't know too many people who haven't been traumatized for their upbringing, but
Yes.
they're just things that, and there are a lot of people who don't even want to deal with what went on with their upbringing that affected them, because everybody's like, it's smooth sailing. I'm going to continue the next step.
Why cry about it? It's over. It's done with. Move on.
Let it go. High school is a horrible trigger for my two sons. It's a mess. I listen to my girls every day come back from school, and that's why listen, man, I have to applaud Stacey. I do my best to have these long, drawn out 35, 40-minute conversations, because in these 40-minute conversations, there's like 8 minutes that they've been trying to tell you. And you got to get through 40 minutes of all the other stuff. For the 8 minutes, they're trying to let you know, but they don't want to go directly to the 8 minutes, or they just don't know how to edit this conversation. And I give Stacey all the credit in the world. And that's why sometimes me and Monty will sit in that driveway in the car and have another 2-hour conversation that started off on us not liking what we got from Dunkin' Donuts. And listen, a lot of it is me trying to make up the screw ups, trying to make up for the screw ups I did in the beginning. What was that last comment before I get out of here? Let me see that last comment. Lady Q, just going to school these days is like sending them into school these days. It's stressful as fuck. It is stressful.
I would rather go to school. I'd switch places with my kids in a heartbeat. Y'all can sit here and figure it out, and I'll go to school.
I would never want to.
School is.
I get what you're saying, Shawnee.
Yeah,
even through all the stuff your daughter is going through.
I went through that in school. I got bullied in school.
I would never want to go back to that.
The difference is that, like I said, I never taught them how to fight. I never, they never had to deal with
the
that.
Street smart side, which you need.
They don't have that. So yeah, I'd rather go. I go to that school. I go back to junior high, and they can sit here and figure this out, and come up with everything.
Figure how to cross the T's, dot the I's, let ends meet, and live a comfortable life.
They be the single mom with 2 kids and shit. I do the same thing. I'd rather go to school than this. But I mean, my thing is, I hear what everybody's saying, but it's like I just can't sit back and be like, okay, I'm gonna let my kids run amok. No, we got to have some order up in here.
No.
I don't think anybody is saying run amok at all. I don't want my kids to run amok. There's still like, there still has to be communication on what's going to be acceptable and what's going to not be acceptable. I didn't even know. Monty thought her curfew was a half hour earlier than what it really was. She had it all wrong. Like I was like, there's going to be,
And if she came in after the curfew, are you gripping her up, or are you just saying you can't go out anymore? You're going to be the cool dad. You're going to be the.
She came in after curfew. What is gripping her up going to do?
No, I'm just saying that hypothetical. Because you said before, if she get disrespectful, like what?
She came in a half hour late, and I sat out there and stepped to her boyfriend. Not stepped to him. Let me stop using those words, because we love using those words. We love that shit. I had a conversation with him. And I said, "This is not acceptable. I think you're cool, but it don't take
young
much.
man.
I actually like you." I said, "But it don't take much for me to despise you. It won't take much."
Go ahead, Mike.
And it never happened again.
And I think I think that's to that exact point. And this goes for your children too, because it was mentioned in the comments. It is a conversation. Look, here's the beautiful part, and Shawnee touched on this also a little while ago. There are a lot of wonderful things that your parents will teach you, mentors and people who you come across, teachers and so forth and so on. They won't make sense to you now. But trust and believe, as you get older, you'll sit around and go, I'm so glad Miss such and such stayed on me about this, or Mr. such and such, gave me the what you call it on that. Because in those moments, again, Mike, you're absolutely right. You're learning how to move into this new space. It's not that you're being disrespectful. It's not that you're, bad and this and the third. I always laugh because like I said, I got an aunt, she used to call it tween. She said, when you turn 13, she said 13 to 15, you're a tween. She said, you're not really a teenager. Or she used to call it a teenacher. She said, you're a teenager because you're not really a teen yet. And you're not, obviously a baby anymore. But that's a rough moment because in your family, to most people, you just went from being the cute little whomever or whatever to now this young person who
get it together.
Exactly. Jay Black, and not get it together. Like, we need you to be grown up and this, man, the third. It's just a weird transition because you're awkward in size. You're awkward in, like Mike was sharing, your train of thought and how you see the world. And basically, you're really just trying to figure out, where exactly do I fit in and how do I fit in? And what is the game plan for this?
The worst thing that my mom did was, and I didn't do this with my kid, was them goddamn fairy tales, because they are not true. So that's something that I didn't go down that road with my daughters of Cinderella, Snow White, and all that fake stuff. But we talked about real stuff that happens, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to prepare these girls to be women to be able to live in this world. I'm not sitting up here trying to coddle them. When they're 25, 21, whatever, and they off at college, they got their own place. I need them. It's more important to me for them to know how to think on their own and make right decisions. Not, mommy, this happened.
The world ain't gonna be nice.
Because it's not. So them goddamn fairy tales, that's some BS right there. That was the thing that messed me up, because I grew up believing, oh, this will happen. It's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I'm 30 chasing a rainbow, trying to find a pot of gold, thinking of a knight gonna show up on a white horse, So that whole, yes, talk to them. I do talk to them sometimes. They're what some people think, oh, they talking back to her. It's not. It's just because they are allowed to express themselves. Now I have to say, no, watch your tone talking to me, because I ain't 12. And you can be 12 and you can be 40. If you want to be 40, I'm gonna handle you like a 40-year-old woman I would handle on the street to say something like that to me. If you want to be my daughter, then talk to me like my daughter. But I don't, the whole, sometimes they gonna have to be dealt with.
So the 3 takeaways I got: Billy said he talks to a shrink, so I think that's good for a lot of people to have a therapist. 2, Lady Q said she takes medication. So that I guess that if the medication to keep you calm, that's something that's good. And Mike said he does the 20-second step back rule before he reacts. I think those 3 things are like 3 reasonable options to explore for those who may want to explore those.
And I just and let me say something about my dad, because I always say the bad stuff. The one thing there's a bunch of things I can say about my dad, but I say this: when I wanted to be a comedian, and I wanted to leave my job, as contradictory as this is, as much as he said, this is my house. And I was like, yeah, but what if it don't work? He said, what if it don't work? I'm here.
See?
I got you back.
And that's big. That's huge.
He said, I'm here. So what's the worst that gonna happen, Mike? You gonna move back in here? And I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, you're right. And just on that, these kids are experiencing something. As much as we think we know what they're experiencing in high school, we don't have a clue. The intensity that they're living in, that school, is 100,000 miles an hour faster than it was when we were in school.
Yes, sir.
Their school day is 24 hours a day. Their peer pressure is 24 hours a day. The violence is 24 hours a day.
So Ashley said her daughter comes home with 3 to 5 fights every day. Like they're fighting in school. They got videos.
Saw that.
The sexuality and the intensity of these relationships are pushed on them 24 hours a day.
What's up, shorty?
There is no break. When we left school, we literally left school. And in some cases, you never talked to anybody until you went back.
Facts. Yeah,
this is a 24-hour a day full court press on: are you pretty? Are you not pretty? Are you a hoe? Are you not a hoe? Do you have a fat ass? Do you have a little dick? Are you a gay dude? Are you tough? Are you not tough? Are you the cool dog? It's 24 hours of being like picked apart, and then trying to figure out, and then trying to act as if you know what you're doing. So
Shaquisa said plus COVID.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but then as they assimilate into once they graduate, then their lives are different than ours. Their adult life is different. It's the same thing. Real Housewives is the rich Black Africans or whatever. You got to do it. It's a constant. So at what point do you get them prepared for that? Like I'm saying, like how to think on your toes, how to bounce back, because shit is gonna happen. We can't stop that.
You can prepare, and you can try and prepare your kids all you want. Like in my opinion, they still gonna get caught off guard.
Well, yeah, and I get caught off guard. But
all you can try and instill for me is their morals, their principles, and to stand on it. And stand
and break apart and not fall apart and deal with, some of the other things like the depressions, which they might experience that anyway. You can't really stop that. It might be something going on that you don't know, but you gotta, I don't know, all that.
And the fall apart, you like, we don't want our kids to fall apart, but guess what? I think I got like 7 times I done fell apart. Like it's just hard out here trying to get them. It's a progression.
The process is not easy, and again, there's no playbook because every kid is different. Even if you have multiple kids or you got one kid, every playbook is different, and every young person process is different. Something else that you brought up, Mike, which is really.
I gotta go, y'all. Y'all go do your thing. I gotta go. Everybody have a good day. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Guilty.
Right,
okay.
But to something that Mike brought up earlier, and this is true, of us, as far as school is concerned, one of the greatest misnomers about school is the fact that they believe that all children learn the same, like they believe all adults learn the same, and we don't. Because when you think about school, there are some kids that are nice with their hands. So facts and figures is never going to make sense to them because that's not how their mind processes stuff. Their mind processes stuff the same way a mechanic or somebody who does those kinds of jobs, their brain works that way. Our school system has failed us because it really doesn't necessarily take that into account and then work with the child as we try to do when we're working with adults based off of how their learning patterns are and the way that they perceive things. We always try to tell people, well, I don't understand why you don't see it that way, because they're not you. They don't process things the same way you do, and it's okay. But we should take that into account when trying to either explain things or at least see things, as they are. And that's always a tough situation for all of us. That's not just school, that's life, as well, which is why you get those difficult, co-workers and this and that and the third. They're not difficult. They didn't grow up the same way you did. They don't process stuff the same way you did. They might have had a learning disability of sorts, possibly. All of these things are definite, moments and things that add to that situation. But like I said, I think that this topic in particular is such a good one because, as parents, again, we are doing so much now to, try to combat half or some of the things that, like you said, we see these kids having to deal with. It's not an easy thing. It really isn't,
All right, we can read these comments, and we're gonna. Speaking of parenting, Shawn, I think is a video about parenting. But go ahead. You want to read that?
Very important to ask your kids daily about their day at school. Look them in the face. Facial expressions tell more than their lips would say. Deal with the issues with other kids with the school. I definitely had to do that. Be that person as a parent that your kid feels comfortable talking to. Most likely it's hard for them to talk about it. Yeah, when we do that, when I pick them up or they come home, that's the first question. How was school? What happened at school today? And they tell me, and I have to tell. We're in a situation right now where I'm having to tell the oldest, well, she had to sit down, fill out a report. She had to call a hotline, give them some information about something that's going on. I told her, look, don't wait till you get home to me. You go, I don't care if you miss class, you late to class, you go tell that counselor or whoever what's going on. And then if it's a problem, tell them you need to call me. But you got to learn how to get through this situation. You got to learn how to do it. And I mean, I don't know, me knowing what went on in their day is important. I mean, just like when they come on, they ask me, well, mommy, what you do today? How was your day? Are you tired? Do you need some help with anything? We have a good line of communication.
Nice.
Hey, action.
So on that same parenting, so I think we exhausted a lot of there. It was a video. It was good to get a mirror and shiny start. So it was a video of a parent him and his daughter, I guess it was at the playground, and they said it's like a little Karen in the making was, I guess, harassed his daughter a little bit and won't let her slide down the slide. And let's just watch the video. Let me get your thoughts.
You better not bite my door. What's wrong with you? Go down the slide. Go down the slide.
So that's the gist of it. So the little girl wouldn't let her down. She gripped her by the leg. The other little black girl said, "Oh, you want to grab me, hold me? I'll scratch your leg." And the white girl tried to bite her, and then the dad wanted to jump in. So I had several thoughts watching from the beginning to the end, and I'm just curious to get y'all perspective. Tim said that video had her on fire.
Well, I know if that was little Carly and Cameron, because this has happened in real life. Listen, that little girl would have got jumped. I will never forget. One day we were at Chick-fil-A and it was the same situation, but it was a little boy and he wouldn't let one of them go down that slide. I looked up. All I know, my daughter had this little boy in the corner, and all I saw was heads and this going on. And they wasn't nothing but about 3 and 4. They were little. They might have been 2 and 3, but I didn't say nothing. You know, I was proud of them that they stood their ground and didn't let the little boy punk them.
So you just watched them go through the motion of trying to figure it out as kids.
Yeah, because nobody was hitting. Nobody was hitting, or it didn't get.
And you have to let children, obviously be children. First off, I was doing all the wiping my face and shaking my head because, it is amazing to me, learned behavior. You know what I mean? Obviously, this little girl.
Where's your mama?
No, obviously, this little girl is in spaces and in places where she's seen that kind of behavior. Because as a kid, kids don't naturally gravitate to being mean to each other because you're a kid. You don't know anything. You don't have any experience in anything. All you know is being a kid for the most part. So obviously that little girl somewhere is seeing that kind of behavior in some way, shape, or form. Now here's where it gets fun and interesting to me. Again, we give our children the opportunity to be in better spaces because as parents, that's what we hope that we can provide. I'm a kid who grew up in the inner city. I grew up in the hood. First of all, Karen would have got kicked in the back down that damn slide. She would have been going head over here. I'm just telling you, in my neighborhood, that wouldn't have flied.
Teaching violence. We teaching violence. Though we said nonviolent, but go ahead.
Now, I am teaching nonviolent, but I'm just saying because here's the deal. It's one thing for you to not want to slide down for your own purposes and reasons. First of all, did you see that there was a stockpile there? You know where we come from. Ain't nobody got time for the stockpile. Karen, get your down the slide. Nobody asked you to be slide monitor today. Either get on or get out the way. You know how we get. But I
just sitting there holding up everybody like this is my slide.
Jokingly, because here, even in my neighborhood, we have a large Jewish community, and they're migrated from one community now into this community. So the park that's right around the corner from my house, I see it all the time. Little, kids be trying to hold stuff up. Like I said, you will get thrown down a slide in the hood. Nobody got time for that. I came out here to have fun. If you want to be monitor of anything, go monitor over there. Not in the way. But I think that, I like the fact because it looked like she almost went to either kiss or bite the little girl.
She was
like, wait a minute. Yeah, like wait a minute.
And that's my problem. When I first saw that, I thought the parent played a key role, and it was partially his fault. He saw the progression and he didn't step in. He allowed the girl to grab his daughter and hold her feet down, allowed his daughter to scratch her on her legs, and then he didn't want to say nothing until the girl went to go bite his daughter. Why allow that? But you see the progression. You have to step
his daughter was handling it.
I guess on one hand, you're not supposed to talk to other people's kids. But when I looked at this, I said, "But wait, here we go. Why did he wait to say something?"
You better not bite my door.
I mean, the little girl was handling herself. So I mean, I would have sat there and watched to see what was gonna happen. And yeah, when she got ready to bite, I'd been like, "Where's your mom? Who out?" No, I would have been like, "Who child is this?"
And I was gonna say, Shawnee, you absolutely right, because now that becomes a conversation, obviously, between the parents. Because again, why y'all letting your little daughter sit up here and regulate the slide? The slide.
And I heard somebody say, "Come on, Elizabeth." It sounded like I heard a parent saying, "Like, was that the parent of her, the little girl?"
I don't know. I thought it was
somebody else somewhere else.
Yeah, and it sounded like it was the parent of the little black girl. But my point is,
no, not with the "Come on, Elizabeth." It was a "Come on, Elizabeth." Like initially, listen real close, and then wait. Remember your thought. Here you go, Elizabeth.
You don't know who they talking to.
Yeah, I don't know who they talking to, but to Shawnee's point, first of all,
turn around.
And as a parent, your job is to make sure that your children are out there playing well with the other kids. Look, I get it. You get to sit down for a minute. Maybe you put your music on. You might be taking a book. Pay attention to your little raggedy ass kids. I'm sorry,
up the slide. It's going the wrong direction.
Whether they're on the slide, whether they're on the monkey ball,
watch your kids
on the swing. Pay attention to your kids. Don't be out there. Now I'm on break. No, this is the time. When my eldest daughter was young, I used to take her to the park all the time. I watched every move that she made. I wasn't in there with anything other than focusing on what was going on in there, because to that point, there's also bullying that starts at that age, because that's what that little girl was doing. She was being a bully. If you notice, she first put an arm bar out.
Like, nah, you
Who
ain't
are you to
coming
put an arm bar out on the slide? That's what I said. They were supposed to kick her in her back, and she was supposed to tumble down that thing head first, and that arm bar would never come out again.
And then we the angry black kid.
Now we listen. Angry
it
black
was more
kid
than
or
black
not.
kids up there. It was a little white boy behind.
It was a little white kid, and that's what I'm saying. And that's why I said, in all fairness, that is really on the parent, because the parent was supposed to be paying attention and saying, "Hey, little Karen," or whatever that little girl's name is,
Karen.
"Come on down the slide." No, because you're supposed to come on down the slide, let everybody else have a turn, because that's what you do. So this way your kid understands what the protocol is for when you go to the park.
But there are some parents that allow their kids to run amok in a sense, and maybe as kids being kids, they don't regulate that. They're not stepping in. They could be passive.
No, there is that happens, Mike. To me, let's just say our two children are playing with a ball, and your child has the ball, my child doesn't have the ball. They don't want to let me have a ball. But a situation such as a slide, situations such as swings, situations such as monkey bars and things like that, that's for all the kids. That's not just for your kid. That's for all the kids. As you can see, like I said, there was a stockpile of kids behind her. It wasn't just like two kids or just her and that little girl. It was a whole bunch of them. So that means that little girl was holding up the line. Mom or dad, get on your A game. Hey, Becky, come on down.
I would have snatched Carly and Tamron down that slide if they sat up there like that. I'd get up there and grab them myself. You gonna get your ass down this slide.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying exactly, because I'm not saying to regulate the kid. I'm saying, to Shawnee's point, you find that parent. Hey, whose child is this? And then you have a conversation. I'm gonna need you to teach your child protocol.
You ain't talking to me about my kid. You ain't telling me how to raise my kid.
Listen, let me tell you something. If
you come try to tell me,
my
check me.
I'm gonna bite you. Now, let your baby bite my baby. I'm gonna bite you.
About my kid.
I'm gonna bite you. I am.
Imagine that.
I am. You better get that little hair on you.
to your point, Mike, Jay Black, as you saw, I'm sorry, to your point, Jay Black, as you saw though, the little girl then went to a biting situation. So I'm telling you, this little girl's
she only went to bite her because the girl scratched the leg, which came from her parents.
But
as a parent, you seeing the progression. I'm just saying the dude.
No, I know, but Jay Black, she went. Did you see her go to a leg lock? You didn't peep the leg lock?
That's when the parents should have play little girl.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's
when the dad should have jumped in and said, no, don't put your hands on my child.
She gets that little girl gets to go to wrestling matches. That's a move you learn in MMA or watching wrestling. I know because I grew up that way. That was a wrestling move, bro. Kids in the hood don't do leg locks. We don't do that. That was a wrestling move, which shows me that this little girl is in environments where she's learning, like I said, certain things, and that doesn't make it a good thing or a bad thing. What I'm saying is, as parents, if you take your children, hopefully to the park or anywhere for that matter, you give them the lay of the land. You say that there are certain protocols in place, and this is how I'm hoping or wanting you to act, so that this way we can ensure and make sure that things run as smooth as possible. When you're going on slides and when you're going on, like I said, these things, as a kid, I remember my mom used to take us to Central Park. I lived in the Bronx, but, in the hood, my mom's, is part of our hanging out or whatever. She'd take us to Central Park. And Central Park, obviously, is, in the middle of our city, which is where, you get a plethora of kids from all backgrounds and groups. But what would happen, hey, Sequisa, what would happen is, my mom would give us lay of the land. Okay, we're going to get in here, and this time I need y'all to act. And that's that. And to, your point, Jay Black, if you can't seem to follow the rules, the Chinese point, you can't seem to follow the rules, we're going to be out of here real quick, fast, in a hurry. But we got to, know that there are certain things that, you have to put in place because your kids are only going to do what you allow them to do. She was literally Gestapo on the slide. When she did the armbar, I was like, who knows and understands that?
Facts, Adrian.
Who knows and understands that? Like, where did we get that from? Like, come on, you know what I mean? So that was interesting. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Good morning, Sequisa. Good morning, Sequisa, on this Wellness Wednesday.
How are you?
Good morning. All right, so we got other stuff that we can keep going, a bunch of little stuff here and there. I think Shawn ain't coming right back. Mike got jury duty, so he's out. Mike should be back tomorrow. So Sequisa, wellness, you said COVID is back. Is there anything going on we need to know about, or should we just want to partake in dialogue?
I want to partake in dialogue. I didn't take a day off from medicine.
All right. Who's that? Queen Born.
The numbers are going back up, like I said.
Okay.
They would. So
Queese, I got a quick question sidebar because I don't know if they addressed this, if you've been on this week or whatever. How did your event go?
Oh, it was amazing. Oh my gosh. It was everything I thought it could be and then some.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank
that is
you.
absolutely wonderful.
We're getting ready to play the second one.
Nice. Beautiful.
All right. Let's see where we're gonna go next. Did we want to hit on this topic? All right, so this was something that we saw on social media. Or you want to read it? Oh yeah, who's here to read? Usually it's one of the ladies.
I'd rather cook for
Go ahead,
you.
Amir, you want to read it out loud?
Okay. I honestly rather cook for you and chill here. I'm broke right now. If I go out tonight, it'll hurt me in the long run tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If that's cool, let me know what you have a taste for so I can get it on. Ladies, what would you do if a man were to send you this the day before y'all first date?
So they're about to go on the first date, and he like, look, I ain't got the money. Like right now, I'd rather chill in the house, and he's being forthcoming. He's being honest. Like, what are we doing? So, Quisa, what are we doing? I guess Amir, from a male perspective. You say what?
I'm telling him what I want him to cook.
So you're not running away.
Why would you?
There's a lot of females that will run away, so that's good though. That's I didn't think you were going to say that because I thought you were going to be if you ain't got the bag, I ain't wasting my time and energy.
When I met my husband, I was a registered nurse and he was a security guard. And the thing that got me was he said, well, if I'm fixing to be married, and we were just started dating, if I'm fixing to be married to someone who's going to school to be a nurse practitioner, I got to step my game up. And then he started making plans to go to truck driving school. It's not where the man is, it's the vision that he has. The fact that he knows that he's broke, but he's planning for a better
that he's broke.
That's the key. But I'm saying you have to be honest. Why break your pockets trying to impress a woman that you don't even know if you have a future with? And her answer to this question right there will let you know if you even want to build one.
But I'm sure you thought when you first initially accepted to go on a date, you weren't thinking the dude was broke because you're not trying to holler. Like, where's your self-esteem? And you're not trying to holler at somebody broke. He's not making you better. So when you initially went, unless I'm reading this wrong, I mean, ain't that what your goal is? To date someone that's
my goal
doing well?
My goal is to date someone that's going to treat me well. I've dated a man that had a whole lot of money and he was a dog. He was disrespectful. He was narcissist. Like, you can't date a man by his wallet. You have to date him by his heart.
I agree.
Unless you want to be the kind of woman that knows your man has a bunch of money, but a bunch of women. Like, it's whatever you want in your life, that's what you pick. But if he's willing to cook for you, ain't too many men willing to cook for you now. Come on now.
And I think, just to piggyback on what Sequisa said, first off, there is a beauty to both sexes, because I'm big on healing. I'm not big on this whole us tearing each other down stuff, as we seem to be doing so much of as of late. To her point, it's not about where people are. It's about, like she said, not only their vision, but it's the fact that you find somebody who may even turn that light on in you. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
He's broke. He can't pay the bill. What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Jay Black. When I say turn that to Sequisa,
I know what you're saying as far as
we all a little broke right now.
Yeah. Here's something that I think that isn't talked about enough, even when we use the terminology of being broke. It's not that most people are broke. The real problem is a good portion of us live way above our means. That's really what's going on. It's not that people are broke. A lot of us live way above our means. And I mean this in every true sense of the word. And like I said, I'm not knocking anybody. Whatever your flavor, whatever your lifestyle is your flavor and your lifestyle. But I do know this. For instance, again, I live here in New York City, and I witnessed this because I pay attention, like I said, when I'm out and about and moving around. There are people in certain neighborhoods, or that you encounter, sneakers are run over, or tennis shoes, as y'all call them in other parts of the country, run over. Clothes may or may not look, up to par, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. However, bank account is on fat. Bank account is on fat. So the clothes look but the bank account is where it needs to be. Our community, my clothes is on fat. My bank account suffering like a mug. Now, I'm not saying that to, like I said, to rock anybody's world or to tell anybody how and what they're supposed to live like and what they're supposed to do. But I do think that we just have an interesting concept of what wealth, what money, what these resources are supposed to be and how we're supposed to use them. And because of that, we have this weird duality with it because, I gotta, like I always say, I see, my male counterparts. You got a Gucci or Ferragamo belt. The belt costs $500. It's a belt. What are we doing? It's a belt. It doesn't it doesn't hold your pants up any different. It doesn't let them sag any different. It's a belt.
But you can say that about anything in life. About your house. Why have the big house? Why have the nice car? Why why wear jewelry?
To your exact point, Jay Black, if you ever have read any information on Warren Buffett, he's in the same house he's had since whatever. And I point that out because in theory, to something even Shawnee said a little while ago about fairy tales, we get these ideologies based off of other people's narratives. So you need to have a big house. It's two of y'all. You got 16 rooms for what? It's two of you. You don't even like your family like that, so you don't want them coming over. So who are we impressing? Who are we impressing? But we do stupid stuff like this because as a community, it's dumb things that we do. Cars. Jay Black, I love a car like everybody else, but let's be clear. We buy cars or usually buy cars because sometimes we're trying to impress the opposite sex. A Honda Accord gets you the same places a Ferrari, a Porsche truck. But it gets you the same exact place. Now, I'm not saying don't have a lifestyle that you appreciate, or that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is our train of thought and how we see things is just different. But I tend to believe that, again, as a community, we live above our means. Now, to get back to the actual meme itself, there's a fun story about a young lady that I had a conversation with similar to this. It didn't involve cooking. This was just a round robin. We were out and about. She was out with her girlfriends. I was out with some of my male friends, and we got into this long, convoluted conversation. Long story short, I mentioned to her not having the resources to possibly take her out to a 5-star or upper echelon restaurant. I said, if the man only had Applebee's, Olive Garden, or Red Lobster money, would you go on the date? And she went off. Hell no! I ain't messing with that. Why would he even ask me to go out on a date? And I said, look, love, I didn't say that you wouldn't get to those 5-star restaurants and all these other places. I said the man was really into you, and he wanted the opportunity to go out and spend some time with you. And he felt or thought that that would give him, based off of his resources at the time, an opportunity to do so. Jay Black, Sequisa, y'all now know me based off of seeing me here on, your platform. I went in like I normally do. By the time I finished saying what I had to say, all her girlfriends was on my side. They was like, girl, he killing you. He's making a lot of sense about, putting aside your pride, because that's what happens, even in real life. To Sequisa's point, do you know how often we miss out on blessings because it's not dressed up in our mind the way we think it's supposed to be dressed up?
Exactly.
Do you know how often most of us miss out on blessings because of that? And that's big. So I always try to share that with people and put it in that perspective, because what tends to happen is we're so caught up in numbers and what perception looks like. I had a very good friend of mine walking in New York City one time, 6th Avenue, and we bumped into a former governor. And my boy was with me. He used to work on Capitol Hill and all that stuff. And white guy and his wife walking down 6th Ave. Nice. They weren't overly dressed or whatever. Nice sweater, whatever. Shook his hand. Nice to meet you, former governor, whoever, whatever. We walked away. He said, Amir, that man is worth $800 million. He was walking on 6th Ave. He didn't have bodyguards. He didn't have a chain on that said, my life is this, ex-governor. Right. So I always look at these moments, and I always drink in these moments, because I realize that's part of our issue. We have a tendency to believe that it is our duty to, fortunately or unfortunately, embarrass ourselves amongst ourselves, if that makes sense. And I put it to you this way. Jay Black, you've been successful, in your endeavors and continue to be successful to your endeavors. Same thing for Sequisa, being a nurse. But she doesn't have a nurse chain on, RN, whatever. She's sitting there looking like a normal, woman who, yes, is successful, but she's successful because of her hard work and dedication to her craft. And then she gets on here and she shares things with us about her craft that then allow us to know that not only is she successful, but she really, truly understands her purpose and what it means to share that with the world. Our problem is, I'm going to show you because I got the chain on that says I'm the best.
You need to see this.
And whatever.
You know what it is.
So it is just a matter of us really trying to learn and understand that it's about, like I said, being in the moment and understanding the moment can always turn into something else. Given the opportunity,
to be flashy from time to time. I think it's okay if you want that Range Rover and you can afford it. Why not?
Can't afford it.
If I want it for me, not necessarily for depressing someone. That's why I said, if you can afford it, you want that chain, go for it.
But a lot of people can't afford it.
Don't dim my light.
You can barely put gas in it.
If I want my Gucci belt, don't dim my light, Amir. A belt is
like I said, I did preface it by saying, if that's what your lifestyle is or whatever, go for it. But I do think, to your point, and getting back to the meme, I think that, Sequisa is absolutely right. First off, to have somebody cook for you is probably one of the deepest, most intimate things that could go on. And I'm going to say it this way. What if the person can't cook? See, I'm not saying that the person can't, but what I'm saying is, in their heart and in their mind, they may think they're a 5-star chef. You get the food and be like, oh, wait a minute. This wasn't what I expected. It was terrible. But I think that you have to have supreme confidence in your skills and your ability to say to somebody, I'd much rather, cook you a meal and spend, quality time with you in that way than to go out and, show that your money or whatever is an impressive thing. I'm going to impress her, or I'm going to impress him because, I have resources. Okay. Like she said, there are plenty of people with resources who are idiots. I've witnessed that on so many levels, so.
Yeah, and Nia said, even if you're garbage men make a lot of money, Nia, stop that. They got good benefits. Don't be trying low-key shade. No, she not. But yeah, so yeah, so that was it. I get it. I like it. I think you should date up and look for a little bit more as well. I think it could be a balance of both, but overall, it makes total sense. All right, so Sequisa,
I think he showed some great characteristics for a future partner by saying, I need to save money now, it'll hurt me in my future. That's the type of person you need as your husband, because he's not going to let you guys get in financial ruin over stupid stuff.
Food. Yeah, makes sense. All right, I'm done. It's 9:00. We're late. I know we're supposed to be in a modified show today. AboveAverageHealthcare.com is the website. Anyone need any medical?
You mean I put all this makeup on for 15 minutes?
I know. I didn't. We were supposed to be done at 8:30, and then it went a little longer because we said when Mike was leaving, we were out.
I could have slept in. You know how tired.
This is what you gotta do now. Now you gotta go do a TikTok, so you can't waste the makeup. So this is my suggestion.
Oh, I know. That's
do a TikTok video.
Make them all for the week.
And there you go. You can knock a couple of them out. But yeah, so if there's anything off you want to get out, anything extra you want to talk about, anything
if you're
you
in Texas
mention?
and you need some health care, come on over. My clinic is open, taking new patients, and this new weight loss product that I found is it's killing the game right now. I've lost 14 pounds in less than 6 weeks.
Wow.
I've got a lady who's
Congratulations.
40 pounds in less than 3 months. So,
congratulations.
They gotta stop eating. They gotta stop eating and fast, or it's like they can still eat some regular food.
The medication actually takes your appetite, so you don't eat near as much, and then it makes foods that you don't like disagree with you. I'm just gonna.
Wow.
So we need to go in detail with that. I think that's something that next week. Let's definitely. I think it's the summertime. This is people. Yes. They want to be summer fine. A little late to start now, but 2 pounds a week.
The first tip I can tell you is get an accountability partner. That's the first thing you have to have.
Get a who?
Accountability partner.
See, I thought I was that, and then I was told I'm wrong because I guess my accountability is you ain't doing it, and I call you out on it. So I guess that's not healthy.
That's what but it's how you do it. But it's how I know you play. We wouldn't get it. But yeah, you could tell somebody that they're not on a game without not completely knocking them down. Yeah. You could be like, oh, do you want this or not? Just let me know. If you don't want this, then I can back up. If this is something that you really want, then you need to do A, B, C, D.
Yeah, I didn't even read it all. See, Nia, I'm sorry. Nia said her point wasn't about the job. My wife tells me all the time. I see what I want to see, and then I stop. Let me go back. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it before we go. Even if he's a garbage man, even if he shows up every day and earns his money, his responsibility and maturity is worth more than his salary. Maybe your support and making him feel like a man, nevertheless, can encourage him to elevate. So yes, good point.
Absolutely right, Nia.
And on that note, we out. Amira, give us a quote as Mike, give something to go out with.
Well, this is always what I share with everybody. And it's family mantra. It's nice to be important. Much more important to be nice. Take that with you everywhere you go. It'll open doors like you've never seen. And it'll have things showing up in your life that you never experienced before. So I share that with everybody. Please use it. Please pass it on. Let's keep it going. One thing about life is synergy and energy is transferable. And the more you put that positivity out there, the more you get it back.
How did I know it's going to be a little longer? How did I know? But anyway, Mike is all this. We see you guys. So you guys know we love it. See you guys tomorrow. Yeah.
Michael, Shawn, and the TakeOver Legends, where the truth hurts, but also makes you